When the chips are down, do you crumble under the pressure? Or do you get out the salt and vinegar and have a party with what is on your proverbial plate? Are you going to give in to the pressure of a situation, or are you going to make the most of what you have in front of you? You see, lately it feels like, a lot has been placed on your shoulders and you feel like you're under extreme pressure in order to create a miracle solution. And to your credit, you're not really short on strategies. That's not the problem. You have a really excellent plan. The only problem is the moment you start implementing that plan, it turns into a nebulous mess and doesn't turn out quite the way that you were expecting it to. And so then it begins to feel to you like you're back to the drawing board. You're back to proverbial square one or circle one or whatever type of shape you're wanting to deal with. And that shape quite often is transforming from moment to moment to the extent that you don't know what the hell you're dealing with. And in one area of your life or another, you're likely facing just such a crisis moment where you feel like you're under a lot of pressure and you have to come up with an answer, and you feel like you're dealing with the tick-tock of time ticking down on you and a solution, and it just feels like too much. So what area of your life might this be related to? That's going to depend upon where the full moon is falling in your horoscope, planets that it's interacting with, and if you would like a little bit of information on that, or even a lot of information on that, the all-new Empower Hours are the way to go for astrological insight, and you can find the link to that either just above if you're watching on YouTube or in my bio if you're watching this on Facebook. So what do you do when the pressure is on you, right? On one level, you feel like you've been tilting at windmills. You feel silly, you feel stupid every time you go at something that you think is going to be a certain solution to the complex conundrum that you find yourself dealing with. And then when you find yourself in a position where you feel like you're, coming up short of the goods, you feel a little short on stature as well. Maybe you feel teensy-weensy, and that's no good to feel. Because you're feeling this big, and you feel like you have to deal with a problem that's this huge, right? Been talking a lot this week on social media, within my groups about the concept of fear. And as we're dealing with this full moon, which is forming an alignment with Pluto, it feels like you're under a lot of pressure. And yes, maybe you are under a lot of pressure. But sometimes, just sometimes, we have a tendency, especially when Pluto's in the equation, to hype that pressure up. We increase the drama. We create more chaos out of the situation than there actually needs to be. We kind of find ourselves like stuck, not taking any action, and then the fear builds and builds and builds, when all that we really need to do is keep acting, right? Because it is somewhat like a play. It is somewhat like a movie. The only thing is within this movie, you feel like you're not too wild about where the plot's going. And as each day passes, you're beginning to feel like concerned if you have any clue about where the plot's going at all. And we're building up to a really powerful solar eclipse at the end of the month. And yes, there is a bit of the unexpected wild card factor, like kind of locked up inside this full moon. You can find a link to that video up here. And so on one level, you're going, why bother going in any direction at all? Why don't I just lay down on the floor? Why don't I just completely give up? Because at the end of the day, all the things that I feel Like, are the things that I should be doing are not producing the results? And if the ultimate result is going to be something that I didn't think it was anyway, then why bother? Because each step of the journey brings a hint. It brings a clue. It helps you to either fine-tune your vision in terms of gaining a little more clarity on what the actual end goal is. I mean, on one level, you know what the end goal is, but the end destination is going to likely be a little bit different than what you initially thought it was. Okay? So you can refine your vision on that with each step of the journey, even though it feels to you like you're just making a lot of mistakes. You're not making a lot of mistakes. You're going through a learning process. You're refining what it is that you actually need to do. You're getting rid of things that don't work. Quite often, it's that process that's like exceptionally valuable to the actual outcome or solution that you're looking for. And in the midst of all of these impurities, these things that don't work, these failed ideas, this masterpiece that's turning into like a nebulous notion with each passing moment, in the midst of all the impurities, if I can say impurities, in the midst of all the impurities, a pearl is forming. But as you see that, you're looking at that, and it's really shiny. And you would like to think that this provides you with an answer. But one part of you has been jaded one too many times. One part of you has gone after those, what you thought were giants that you had to tackle to get to your goal, and discovered that they were windmills, and you've been kind of whopped by that windmill one too many times, and you're really uncomfortable with it. But did that windmill really do you much damage? Probably not. So what's the harm in going after one more giant if it carries you closer to your ultimate goal? If you could use a little bit of help sorting through this full moon energy and also the approaching eclipse taking place on the 30th of April in Bharani Nakshatra, the Empower Hours are available for you to schedule at the link that you're going to see above on YouTube and in my bio on Facebook. That's going to do it for this look at the full moon, which is taking place in Chitra Nakshatra on the 16th of April, 2022. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.